Mortal Kombat 11 has recently launched, and by now, all of the base roster and character cameos are known. Perhaps the most noteworthy of the non-playable character cameos in the story mode for the game include Cyrax, Shiva, and Sector, with other characters given references outside of the story mode and besides customization options including Kinshi, Ermac, who has a completely new design as seen in the crypt, Fujin, and Reptile. With a franchise heavily populated in characters as with Mortal Kombat, we are still inclined to wonder about Taven and Dagon, two characters who are significant in the story mode for Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Armageddon is notable in that it serves as the last title in the Midway continuity, and since then, Taven and Dagon have barely been seen in Mortal Kombat games. We'll explore these characters and what sort of future they could have in this video. Before continuing, it is worth noting that there are two continuities in the Mortal Kombat series, the Midway continuity and the NetherRealm continuity. The Midway continuity is comprised of titles developed by Midway Games, the original developer of the Mortal Kombat franchise, though now defunct. The NetherRealm continuity is comprised of games developed by NetherRealm Studios, the current developer of the Mortal Kombat games starting with Mortal Kombat 2011. Taven and Dagon have only ever made one playable character appearance in the Mortal Kombat franchise, with that game being Mortal Kombat Armageddon, but that one appearance was incredibly significant. Taven is the protagonist of the Mortal Kombat Armageddon game, though that status and the events of that game are arguably overshadowed by the Battle of Armageddon, which divides the entire cast into two sides of good and evil and pits them against each other in a war to achieve the power of the elemental blaze that takes place at the end of the story. Taven is from Edenia and can control fire. The same applies to Dagon, his brother, but they differ significantly in that one is a hero and the other is a villain. The two are the sons of Argus and Delia. This family was influential in protecting Edenia from an invasion by Shao Kahn early in his rise to power, with one particular battle that Taven and Dagon participated in significantly predating the first Mortal Kombat title. Shao Kahn's attempted invasion then was successfully repelled by the forces of Edenia here. Following this, the two brothers were put to sleep and encased in stone and transported to Earthrealm. What happened was that Delia had begun to have visions of Armageddon in the distant future. Combatants across realms were going to become increasingly powerful and continue to seek more power, and confrontations among them as their power escalated would cause destruction in the universe. So Delia created Blaze and hid Blaze in a pyramid in Edenia. Blaze's defeat would signify the victor as the next protector of Edenia and grant the wielder great power, a power that could ideally be used to stop the destruction of the realms wrought by warring combatants. But such a privilege was to be bestowed, as decided by Argus and Delia, only to one of their two sons, and prior to challenging Blaze, the sons had to participate in a quest that would test their character. The two sons were watched over by guardian dragons. Auron, the golden dragon, oversaw Taven, while Karo, the red dragon, oversaw Dagon. Dagon's ultimate essence lay with evil. His guardian dragon, Karo, woke him from his slumber early due to communication errors with Blaze, and this corrupted Dagon. After being instructed by Karo about the quest to defeat Blaze, Dagon confronted Delia and Argus and later spoke with Shinnok, who is one of the most evil beings within the Midway continuity and the Mortal Kombat franchise. Dagon allied with Shinnok upon awakening, and Shinnok made a useful underling of him by telling Dagon that Delia and Argus were assisting Taven in the quest to defeat Blaze. Much later in the story, Shinnok would muse that Taven was the superior brother, and that he might have chosen wrong in making an underling of Dagon. In response to Shinnok, Dagon killed both of his parents and sought and claimed the swords and armor left by his parents' legacy for himself. He imprisoned his guardian dragon and created the Red Dragon Clan, a highly disciplined order of warriors. Despite their discipline and skill, the Red Dragon were established fundamentally for Dagon's manipulation and pursuit of power. With the Red Dragon established, Dagon conducted experiments on splicing human and dragon DNA using his imprisoned guardian dragon. Dagon also made it the purpose of the Red Dragon to kill Taven. Dagon and Taven's conflict would culminate in one fateful and climactic encounter in the story of Armageddon, though it wouldn't be their only meeting. Taven's ultimate essence, on the other hand, would lay with heroism. His guardian dragon Auron awoke him as scheduled, but when Taven asked Auron about the quest given to him by his parents, Auron was unaware about its greater purpose. Nevertheless, from here, Taven's story would start. First, he would go to the Temple of Argus, but both swords left behind were taken by Dagon, who awoke earlier than he did. Taven, upon leaving the temple, was captured by Sector and his Takunan fleet, but escaped with Sonya's help. Next, Taven would seek the armor left behind by his mother in the region of Arctica. Along the way, he would fight Rain and Frost before finally meeting Sub-Zero. After helping Sub-Zero fight back against an ambush led by Smoke and Noob Saibot, Sub-Zero would tell Taven about the Red Dragon clan, and during his time in Arctica, he would acquire the suit of armor that Delia left behind. Taven was then directed to the Red Dragon headquarters, and it was here that Dagon and Taven would confront each other, but his time spent there would only leave Taven with questions. Why was Dagon trying to kill him? Where is Blaze? And what about the human dragon experiments that the Red Dragons were conducting? Later, Taven would release Kero from his imprisonment, and from him he would learn the story of Dagon's awakening and his evil actions since then. Kero would then produce a portal to Netherrealm and travel through the fortresses of Shinnok and Shao Kahn separately. When he infiltrated Shao Kahn's fortress, he learned that Quan Chi, Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn, and the Dragon King Onaga were discussing an alliance, though the talks weren't completely going smoothly. Ultimately, they chose to unite, and they began to march upon Edenia. Before Taven could move to defend his homeland, Raiden would intercept him and challenge him, as he had struck a bargain with Shao Kahn allowing the evil emperor to conquer all other realms if Earthrealm would be left alone. This bargain also necessitated Raiden defeating Taven so that Shao Kahn could claim the power of Blaze for himself, but Taven defeated Raiden. As Taven finally made his way to Edenia, defeating Scorpion while there, he would at last confront Dagon for the right to fight Blaze, and Taven would win. However, combatants from across the realms were converging at the pyramid at which Blaze was hidden. Taven and Dagon took opposing sides in the Battle of Armageddon, but neither would claim the power of Blaze and both would lose their lives during the battle. This concludes their role in the Midway continuity, and the Battle of Armageddon would conclude with victory for Shao Kahn. The Netherrealm's continuity story is a reboot of the Mortal Kombat mythology that begins at a point in time prior to the first Mortal Kombat game. Dagon is alive and active as seen in his role in the Mortal Kombat 10 comics, the events of which predates the events of the Mortal Kombat 10 games. He, here again, is evil and has established the Red Dragon group. While not as prominent as someone like Kotal Kahn, Dagon has a position of influence due to the might amassed through Red Dragon. Throughout the comics, he loses his lieutenants Su Hao and Mavado, but also makes an alliance with the Shokan warrior Goro. Goro and Dagon didn't appear in Mortal Kombat 11 story mode, as was the case for Taven. But the ending for Mortal Kombat 11's story mode is interesting in that it sees Fire Liu Kang and Kitana from the past being tasked with regulating the flow of time. From a conclusion such as this, there are many possible beginning points that the writers can take when constructing the plot for the next Mortal Kombat game. It could start directly following the events of Mortal Kombat 11, or it could be entirely possible to reboot the franchise again. To be clear, Taven and Dagon can still be a part of Mortal Kombat 12 even if there is no reboot. The story of Taven and Dagon, because of the pivotal role that Delia and Argus have in charting the course of their futures, has much flexibility in choosing a starting point. Their story predates the fall of Shinnok, the rise of Shao Kahn, and the triumph and death of the great Kung Lao. It could even be the case that Taven and Dagon are reintroduced without any competition to seek the power of Blaze, or if you pursued a reboot, without having the two characters being put to sleep at all. It's worth noting that they are less subject to the wear of aging that the rest of the humans are, and so basically their presence doesn't necessarily need to drastically alter any timeline. They could theoretically be alive for a long time after they've been introduced as defending Edenia from invasion by Shao Kahn, and so a game featuring them could take place anytime since then. It should be stated that since both are highly powerful, their presence should probably significantly change events after they have been awoken, once they become more actively involved in the wars between realms. But interestingly enough, for his time spent being awake in the Netherrealm continuity, the scale of Dagon's actions don't seem to match those of Shinnok or Shao Kahn. Nevertheless, Taven and Dagon's re-entry into a Mortal Kombat game is really a matter of interest from the decision makers at Netherrealm Studios. Tell us what you think about the future of Taven and Dagon in the Mortal Kombat franchise. Do you want to see them in Mortal Kombat 12 at all? Do you think that if they're brought into a hypothetical next game story mode, they should feature as prominent and playable characters? As always, thanks for watching. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.